Apple's $30 billion chip risk urges business leaders to build supply chain advantage and strengthen innovative growth. You need to look closely at Apple's staggering $30 billion deal with Broadcom because it completely changes how you must approach your tech infrastructure. If you think semiconductor sourcing is just a procurement task, this massive move proves it has officially become a board-level priority for your business. You are looking at a commitment that will pump out over 15 billion US-made chips, locking down capacity so your competitors can't snatch it up. Through this deal, you will see a massive $1.5 billion expansion directly targeting Fort Collins, Colorado, to anchor domestic manufacturing. This partnership actively extends custom ASIC development all the way through 2031, meaning you need to prepare for a decade of Apple-dominated silicon. When you break down the strategy, it is designed to protect your supply lines against rising geopolitical, manufacturing, and AI infrastructure risks. You should view this announcement not as a standard supplier contract, but as a masterclass in securing long-term manufacturing capacity before future shortages spike your pricing. The semiconductor industry has officially entered another capital-intensive cycle, and you cannot afford to sit on the sidelines while giants make their moves. To put the scale into perspective, you must realize global semiconductor sales skyrocketed past $627 billion back in 2024. If you are building AI platforms, you need to account for the double-digit growth rates currently expanding AI semiconductor demand. You are operating in a market where hyperscalers collectively plan to invest well above $350 billion in AI infrastructure during this year of 2026. You are watching the United States actively deploy aggressive industrial policy incentives to rebuild domestic production after decades of offshore concentration. L-Impact Solutions points out that you must look beyond the headline numbers, as capital alone cannot entirely eliminate your semiconductor volatility risks. If you remember the pandemic chip shortages, you know they violently disrupted industries worth trillions of dollars worldwide. Those severe disruptions delayed your production timelines across automotive, electronics, healthcare equipment, and industrial automation. You have now seen the brutal financial cost of excessive supplier concentration, and you cannot afford to repeat those mistakes in your own ecosystem. Even with improved supply conditions today, you still face operational risks from export controls, advanced node competition, and relentless AI chip demand. You need to pay special attention to custom ASIC development because these application-specific integrated circuits are turning into your ultimate strategic assets. Instead of relying on standardized silicon, you can leverage custom chips to radically improve performance and slash your power consumption. By designing proprietary chips, you can strengthen your security protocols and highly differentiate your products across multiple generations. Apple's aggressive move represents a powerful blend of vertical integration and long-term manufacturing security that you should learn from. From your macroeconomic viewpoint, this massive investment triggers an immediate boost to domestic manufacturing capacity. You will see every major fabrication expansion generate massive multiplier effects across engineering services and equipment manufacturing. These economic waves directly hit your regional infrastructure, specialty chemicals, logistics, packaging, testing, and workforce development. The broader economic impact stretches far beyond two companies, deeply influencing your suppliers, universities, construction firms, and software providers. According to L-Impact Solutions, you must avoid interpreting large manufacturing commitments as complete, foolproof protection against market volatility. While a multi-billion-dollar agreement reduces sourcing uncertainty, your ultimate supply chain resilience still depends heavily on raw materials and packaging. If you ignore downstream operations like packaging capacity, skilled labor availability, and equipment lead times, your expansion will eventually stall. L-Impact Solutions warns that manufacturing expansion without total ecosystem readiness simply shifts your bottlenecks from fabrication to downstream operations. You must realize that one of your largest operational gaps remains semiconductor packaging and advanced testing. While you might focus heavily on front-end fabrication investment, substrate manufacturing, and specialized assembly frequently operate under suffocating capacity constraints. Because your AI chips and custom ASICs require highly sophisticated packaging technologies, shortages can trap you even when wafer production expands. If you focus exclusively on front-end manufacturing, You risk overlooking downstream constraints capable of delaying your commercial production for months. L-Impact Solutions highlights a critical concern regarding supplier concentration that could severely expose your business during an unexpected crisis. When you build a deeper dependence on fewer strategic partners, you heavily increase your operational exposure to cybersecurity incidents and natural disasters. You cannot rely on confidence built solely on contractual commitments extending through 2031. You absolutely require real physical redundancy. You must give greater strategic attention to labor economics because advanced manufacturing depends entirely on a highly specialized workforce. Your business requires an elite mix of process specialists, equipment technicians, software experts, materials scientists, and AI hardware designers. Even though the United States is investing heavily in workforce development, the demand for semiconductor talent is rising faster than your educational pipelines can supply. L-Impact Solutions emphasizes that capital expenditure alone cannot manufacture human expertise, making workforce planning a core strategic necessity for you. You must recognize that global semiconductor competition now explicitly reflects industrial policy instead of purely commercial economics. As you map out your roadmap, you must track governments across North America, Europe, and Asia expanding subsidies, tax incentives, and export controls. If you rely on long-term semiconductor availability, you have to monitor public policy alongside supplier performance because regulatory decisions control capacity. You should immediately begin redesigning your semiconductor procurement around strategic resilience instead of chasing the lowest acquisition cost. To protect your operations, you must deploy multi-source supplier frameworks and geographically diversified manufacturing. You can secure your future by securing longer-term capacity reservations to significantly reduce your exposure to sudden regional disruptions. You need to direct your procurement leaders to measure supplier resilience using quantitative indicators like capacity utilization and inventory coverage. Your team must rigorously audit supplier delivery reliability, geopolitical exposure, cybersecurity maturity, and financial stability. You should evaluate investing in custom silicon specifically where proprietary differentiation creates measurable, long-term business value for you. If you operate large AI platforms, networking infrastructure, or industrial automation, custom ASICs will give you lower latency and optimized performance. You can achieve far stronger long-term returns with a proprietary chip strategy compared to standard, off-the-shelf hardware procurement. To achieve true supply chain visibility, you must drive a digital transformation backed by predictive analytics and artificial intelligence. You can utilize real-time supplier monitoring, demand forecasting, inventory optimization, and digital twins to revolutionize your executive decision-making. Your next step should be integrating procurement, manufacturing, logistics, finance, and risk management into unified operational dashboards to spot multi-tier vulnerabilities. You must ensure your capital allocation reflects semiconductor lifecycle economics by adopting phased investment frameworks tied to measurable milestones. This disciplined financial approach protects your cash flow during cyclical demand downturns while preserving your flexibility for emerging technologies. You can drastically reduce technology development risk by participating in collaborative innovation networks and partnering with universities and equipment manufacturers. Your risk governance must evolve by forcing executive committees to review semiconductor concentration risk quarterly using measurable key risk indicators. You need to implement zero-trust architectures, continuous vulnerability assessments, and strict supplier cybersecurity audits across your entire semiconductor ecosystem. If you treat semiconductor sourcing as a transactional function, you risk higher operational volatility, longer recovery periods, and weaker competitive positioning. Will your chip strategy survive the next supply chain shock? Comment below. For more strategic analyses, visit our business consultancy website, link in the description below. Thank you.